God works in mysterious ways, by giving us these crazy opportunities. For me, it was interesting because I was 9 years into doing my independent broadcasting, and we had built this amazing studio. I could, ask questions. It was my operation, and I was also sober. I was strong. I was healthy. And when all this stuff happened, we were just ready to go. And my team was with us 100%. And we were in this rare place where we could bring people in the studio physically, like David, and then remotely elsewhere. And we had, over 2 million subs at that point on YouTube. And it just was all there for it to happen. And if it was missing one of those elements, maybe I would have been at home, or maybe I would have locked the doors, or, if it wasn't my media platform, somebody would have told me no. Or if we had some big advertiser that started trying to boycott us, but none of that was there. And so we went all in. And it's funny, I was on a podcast last year, Dr. Tenpenny, and someone said, wow, Brian, I watched you do all this, and I watched you ruin your entire brand. And I looked at him and I said, I think it was our greatest moment ever. I said, it was in Dubai. And I said, people stopped me in the streets of Dubai and thanked me for 2020. Now, if I had just decided to pass and keep doing videos about, Ironman races and veganism, and chose to just not talk about the elephant in the room, nobody would be stopping me on the streets and thanking me. Nobody would still come up to me and say, wow, that really changed my life. So it's interesting to see other people's perspectives. I'm sure you had a lot of people tell you the same thing, that you were ruining your career and your life when you took that stance. Am I wrong?
I don't know. I mean, they probably told me that back in 2001 when I started doing this. A lot of people would come up to me at conferences and ask me if I travel with a bodyguard, or if I wear Kevlar, or do I check for, car bombs on my house, on my car. And I always say, no, I've got bigger bodyguards than that. I've got great big angels protecting me for doing this, because I'm trying to protect children and babies, and those are the closest to God. They're the things that Satan hates the most, because they're closest to God. And if there's one person in the audience that says, after hearing about the problems with vaccines and the ingredients and the adjuvants and blah, 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 all those different things, if there's one person that says, I'm not going to poison my children anymore, then it was worth it. And it's been worth it all these 20 years of lots of hardships and lots of arrows in the back, lots of government intervention things in my life that are not good. And I just persist, because like you said, Brian, if not me, then who? If not now, then when? And so I just have to keep doing it. It's interesting because I've put about 50,000 hours into this over the last almost 25 years, and that's not an exaggerated number. And they say that if you've studied something for 10,000 hours, then that you become an expert. So I guess that makes me a 5-time expert or something. I don't know. But there's just a whole lot of things. And interestingly enough, say that one of the gifts of COVID was that people really, no matter how slow the waking up was of the horizon, I would say that a lot of people, maybe even the vast majority, I don't know, 50%, a lot of people have woken up to the problems associated with that jab. They have personal friends that were injured or killed. They have family members. They have children that died. They're seeing this carnage all around them. And so they dug in and they listened to the problems with vaccines. They listened to the things about the lipid nanoparticles and the graphene oxide and the hydrogel, and perhaps the self-assembling nanobots that some people believe they're there and some people don't, but some people have shown evidence of that. They have really dug in. And because they've dug in and looked at what was coming through that needle, they've rolled over, because they have had children or grandchildren, and say, well, what's coming through those other needles that we just sacrificed our children to all these years, not knowing any better? And so one of the gifts of COVID is that more and more and more people are waking up to the childhood vaccine problem and opening their eyes and saying, I'm not doing that either. I had a child during COVID. I couldn't go to the doctor. The doctor wouldn't see me. I couldn't get out of my house. I didn't have any health insurance. My child's now 2.5, 3 years old, and they didn't die. Look at that. They had no vaccines and they didn't die. well, I'm having another baby, so I think maybe I won't vaccinate that one either. So I think that is, if there was any gift of COVID, I would say that was one of the things that has woken people up, and people are taking they're paying a lot more attention to things like the UN and the World Health Organization and the World Economic Forum and our governments and what our politicians are doing, that they're saying, we have been asleep at the wheel for 50 years. And look what they have created and what we have to do to stop it. And people are paying attention now, which is another, what I would call one of the gifts of COVID.
Yeah, I agree. They're questioning what we've been putting in our bodies, but they're also questioning where we get our information and the media. And then they just keep taking it a step further. They're asking questions about our money, about our government, how truthful they are, about our food, about everything. And they're just starting to ask, well, can I trust anything? And the answer is probably no. You should really get down and really learn for yourself and go investigate everything. And that has been an amazing consequence, for sure.
Hey, I know investing in crypto is scary. It takes a real leap of faith because there are so many scams, rug pulls, and bad actors out there. It's a dangerous business, which is why 95% of people lose all their money. Well, that's why I created the London Real Investment Club, so you can access the hottest deals on the planet and use the crypto bull market to create the generational wealth that you deserve. Join my team of over 100 people from around the world that are making millions of dollars behind the scenes investing in blockchain, AI, Web3 games, DeFi, Bitcoin, and more. Don't miss out. Click the link below to book a call with one of my team now. But hurry, this bull market will end soon.
I know investing in crypto can be scary. That's why you gotta join the investment club. Pull the trigger. Let's do this.